The way that I want you. I got something never saw before that jaws dropping to the floor. Still made a soul and sin. Though I tried not to hurt you, though I tried, but
Formerly known as Paris, Poison was formed in 1984 by Bret Michaels, bassist Bobby Dall, and drummer Rikki Rockett. After leaving their hometown of Harrisburg and resettling in LA, the boys began holding auditions for a fourth member. Guitarist CC Deville got the gig, famously beating out future Guns N' Roses bandmate Slash in the process. With their lineup intact, Poison embraced a glammy, androgynous image and began playing shows in LA, becoming masters of self-promotion and DIY advertising in the process. The hard work won them a contract with Enigma Records in 1986, and they released their first album Look What the Cat Dragged in that summer. The record spawned a pair of top 40 hits, Talk Dirty to Me and I Won't Forget You, and sold over 2 million copies within a year of its release. The band was already quite popular by the end of 1987, but 1988's Open Up and Say proved to be Poison's commercial breakthrough, due to the massive hits Fallen Angel, Nothin But a Good Time, and Every Rose Has Its Thorn. After a prosperous tour alongside David Lee Roth, the group returned to the studio to record Flesh and Blood in 1990. The album, which included the number 3 hit Unskinny Bop and the number 4 ballad Something to Believe In, was another multi-platinum success, but it also signaled the end of Poison's glory days. While touring in support of Flesh and Blood, the band began falling apart, and an infamous appearance on MTV showed Deville performing Talk Dirty to Me with his guitar unplugged. The band broke into a brawl backstage after the disastrous performance. Shortly after the release of Swallow This Live, Poison fired Deville due to his increasing addiction to drugs and alcohol. His replacement, 21-year-old Rikki Rockett, made his commercial debut with the band on 1993's Native Tongue. Despite some strong reviews and a hit single Stand, the album proved to be a commercial disappointment. Rockett was fired during the subsequent tour, having reportedly struck up an illicit relationship with Rikki Rockett's fiancée, and solo artist session guitarist Blues Saraceno became Poison's third guitarist. The band recorded its fifth studio album Crack a Smile for an intended release in 1996, but the record was shelved and replaced with the Greatest Hits 1986 to 1996 disc instead. Toward the end of that year, Saraceno left and Deville returned to the band, a move that resulted in a successful reunion tour during the summer of 1999. The Crack a Smile sessions were finally released the following spring, followed by Power to the People, which paired 5 new songs with 12 live tracks from the band's comeback tour. However, another tour was cut short by an accident that left Dall with serious back surgery. Following Dall's lengthy recovery, the band stepped into the studio and recorded Hollywood, which was released in the summer of 2002. The following tour was promoted as a nostalgic experience and was funded by VH1, laying the brickwork for a lucrative relationship between the band and the television channel. Deville would later appear in the network's 6th season of The Surreal Life, while Michaels was awarded his own dating show, Rock of Love with Bret Michaels. Hollywood's reception was lukewarm at best, and Poison spent some time out of the spotlight while Michaels and Rockett released solo albums. They reconvened in 2006, celebrating their 20th anniversary with a nationwide tour and another Greatest Hits album. Propelled by Michaels' new status as a reality TV star, the Best of Poison 20 Years of Rock debuted inside the Billboard Top 20, a feat the band hadn't accomplished since Native Tongue. The following year brought similar luck, with the band's 7th studio effort, a covers album titled Poison, moving over 20,000 units during its first week. But behind all that, there are some interesting facts about Poison. Bret Michaels of Poison had a brain hemorrhage. According to ABC News, Poison singer Bret Michaels suffered a string of alarming and potentially fatal medical emergencies in April 2010. Early in the month, Michaels was all set to take the stage for a concert in San Antonio when he fell suddenly and seriously ill. He planned to perform anyway but was ultimately rushed to a local hospital instead, where he endured an emergency appendectomy. They told me that if I had gone on stage like I wanted to, likely would have ruptured and I could have died. Scarcely 2 weeks later, Michaels was recuperating at home when he told people, what sounded like a handgun. The loud, popping noise wasn't a bullet, it was something internal. After finding he couldn't think straight, speak correctly, or move his head, Michaels asked girlfriend Christy Gibson to take him to a hospital. That's where doctors diagnosed a massive subarachnoid hemorrhage, or bleeding at the base of the brainstem. Michaels was listed in critical condition while doctors diagnosed and treated the cause of the bleeding. After spending some time in a physical therapy facility, Michaels fully recovered. Bret Michaels' sex tape was stolen and distributed. In January 1997, Poison, a band not much in the news by that point anymore after the death of hair metal and ascendancy of alternative rock, made some scary headlines. MTV News reported that the band's lead singer Bret Michaels had hired a private investigator to look into the reasons behind increasing threats to his safety. Over the course of a few months in 1996, Michaels said, his Nashville home was set on fire, then he found his dog had been killed, and his truck tampered with a tire fell off while he was driving, and all of the lug nuts had gone missing. The meaning behind all of these assaults on his life and property, Michaels believed, intimidation and revenge for his refusal to sell tapes he'd once made with his now former girlfriend, Baywatch star Pamela Anderson. Nevertheless, in 1998, a company called Internet Entertainment Group commercially released a video full of footage of Michaels and Anderson's intimate encounters, which it claims it obtained via a non-disclosed authorized source. Michaels didn't authorize the video, and according to his lawyer, spent $100,000 trying to prevent the tape's release, which may have been stolen and leaked by a former employee of Michaels. Members of Poison frequently got into fights with other members of Poison. Along with the joys of being in a successful band, the pressures can get to its members, be they creative differences, the rigors of touring, or personal disagreements. For Poison, that tension erupted into fisticuffs on more than one occasion. On Fox Sports Radio's Steve Gorman Sports Show in 2015, singer Bret Michaels recalled the time he and guitarist CC Deville got into it at a New Orleans sports bar after some drinking and sniping. They were physically separated, and when they got back to the hotel, they started beating each other up once more. And in 1991, after Poison performed at the 1991 MTV Video Music Awards, during which time Deville delivered a sloppy, error-plagued performance, the guitarist and Michaels came to blows. Fans who came to see Poison in Atlanta in 2006 were treated to an extra non-musical encore. After getting into a verbal argument, singer Michaels and bassist Bobby Dall engaged in physical violence. According to Monsters and critics, Michaels tossed his microphone at Dall, and Dall rammed his bass into Michaels' knee. Further damage was prevented when roadies and drummer Rikki Rockett broke up the melee. In an apology meets explanation on its website, Michaels wrote, "That shit has been building up for 20 years. We are like brothers, and sometime brothers want to knock the fuck out of each other.